What's going on, guys? Let you guys get in here. In just a second. Still getting set up. How's everybody doing today? Hang on just a second. What do you think about Tucker Davidson? Republican Elephant Boy, we're going to get to that in just a minute. Let me get set, and we'll be ready to go. It'll be just a second. So we got 8 of y'all in here right now. How's everybody doing today? So before we get started, I want to let you guys know, some of you probably already know this, but Kevin McAlpin, we just got done doing an interview with him actually a few minutes ago, and it's uploaded to YouTube, but it will not drop until later tonight. That will be a really good interview. It's we're talking about the Braves' postseason chances. He's going to pick the team that he wants the Braves to face. He talks about Tucker Davidson, Republican Elephant Boy. He talks about him, kind of what he thinks to expect out of Tucker Davidson. And he talks about Marcell Ozuna and whether or not he thinks that Marcell Ozuna will be re-signed. And to be honest with you, I've talked about that a lot on this channel, but we're going to have to wait and see in the offseason for that. But let's get some of your questions real quick. What do you think about Tucker Davidson? It didn't surprise me much, to tell you the truth. I know that's going to surprise a lot of you guys, but no, it didn't really surprise me a lot on Tucker Davidson getting that call because, frankly, the Braves have nothing to lose right now. They've already cemented the second seed in the postseason. They won the division. There's nothing to lose. I thought they would experiment. I was surprised that it was Tucker Davidson, though, if I'm being completely honest. I was surprised that it was Tucker Davidson. But all reports are that, he throws strikes, so that's probably the reason he's getting the call. It's a low-risk situation. I know Tyler Stone Davidson is not on the postseason roster, but he is getting the start today. The postseason roster has not been released yet. I don't know whether or not he's going to be on it. It probably depends on what he does today. Let me see. But Tucker Davidson got the call. He apparently throws strikes. And to be honest with you, a lot of you guys all year long have, hyped up Tucker Davidson. I mean that in a good way. You guys have hyped him up, and, to be honest with you, I didn't view Tucker Davidson as the next guy to be called. I thought it would be Kyle Muller before Tucker Davidson, but regardless, he did get the call. So we'll have to see what he does today. I'm excited for it, 7:10 p.m. tonight. Make sure you tune in. I'm sure you are if you're here. But anyway, let me see. Is there a way that the 7th seed can be a team besides the Reds? Yeah, a lot of shifting can happen. A lot of things can happen. I think it's either going to be the Reds, the Cardinals, or the Giants. But right now, it's looking like it's going to be the Reds. So, yeah, it's going to be that's going to be a tough one for the Braves. So that pitching staff over there in Cincinnati is tough with Bauer and Sonny Gray. It's tough. But the Braves' offense has proven that they can take on tough pitching. Think about all the. Kevin McAlpin earlier, he brought up a good point. This is just a teaser for the video I'm dropping later. Kevin McAlpin said that, the National League East has a really good pitching, just pitching overall. You got DeGrom with the Mets, Syndergaard with the Mets, Strasburg and Scherzer for the Nationals. The Marlins have a lot of good arms. So the Braves have faced good pitching. No doubt about it. They face good pitching. I think, obviously Bauer's probably going to win a Cy Young this year. So things can obviously that's going to be a tough challenge, though. How am I doing today? I'm doing pretty good. We got a lot of content coming your way. For lots of sports, we have a lot of content coming your way today. 3 videos. One, if you missed it, go check out the recap. I dropped it earlier of last night. Obviously, Freddie Freeman walking it off, and Acuna's 495-foot shot. A lot to talk about there. So go check out that recap. And, of course, we're doing this right now. And then at 6 p.m. today, we released that interview with Kevin McAlpin. Is our starting rotation ready for the postseason? That's the as some people call it, that is the great unknown right now. I think I'm more sure of our rotation now than I have been at any point after Soroka went down, because now Ian Anderson is coming off 2 good starts. Kyle Wright, he had a good start last night. He's coming off a good 2 starts. If he's figured it out, then I'm confident. I'm not overly confident, but I'm confident. More confident than I have been a lot of other times this season. What's up, Blake? How we doing? Why not Folty yet? Gangsta Waffles. That is one heck of a name. Foltynewicz, is kind of up in the air with him right now. A lot of people think he's probably going to be non-tendered this offseason. He may stick with the Braves next year. It's not looking good. I was hoping he would come back and perform like he has before, but that just doesn't seem to be in the cards at the moment. Hopefully that will change. Is Davidson? Nope. My Gators looking a little sloppy right now. Are they? I haven't had a chance to watch. I've been stuck up at the studio all day. Obviously, college football kicked off. Well, the big part of college football kicked off today. I haven't been able to watch much of it. Who do you think will play the Braves in the first round of the playoffs? I hope it's the Giants. I'll just leave it at that. I hope it's the Giants. I feel like for the right price, Ozuna resigns due to him thriving in Atlanta and really seeming to mesh well with Acuna. It's not just Acuna. It's Camargo. It's Ozzy Albies. Really, he's meshed with the entire team pretty well, I think. But that could happen. We've seen that kind of thing happen before. I'm not opposed to him re-signing by any means, but we're going to have to wait and see. Obviously, the Braves want him. They'd be dumb to not be interested in Marcell Ozuna after this season, but we're going to have to wait and see. Do you care who the Braves end up playing? I hope they play the Cards again so they can get revenge. Plus, the Reds are scary. It's not just the Cards and the Reds in the mix. It's also the Giants. I would want the Giants, if I'm being honest with you. But no, I don't think it – this is going to sound really dumb when it comes out of my mouth, so please forgive me. But I don't really care who the Braves face. I don't think it much matters. Now, obviously, the pitching staffs are different. The Reds are scary. I get it. But to be honest with you, the Marlins aren't out of the conversation. I wouldn't want to face the Marlins. They're a scary team to face. And to be honest with you, the Braves are a scary team to face. Let's be real here. The Braves are a dangerous team. Snicker said that the other day. If I'm the Cardinals, if I'm the Marlins, if I am anybody in the postseason, even if I was the Dodgers and the Braves were possibly in the mix for the team I had to face, I would not want to face the Braves. So don't kid yourself. The Braves are a good team, and they can compete with anybody. Yeah, Blake, I want the Giants. I hope we go. Jameson, I appreciate it. We'll get to you in just a second. I'm trying. Hang on a minute. I hope we go after Bauer this offseason. That's Evan Roden. Yeah, Evan, I completely agree. I would love to get Trevor Bauer, but the Braves are offloading a lot of money this offseason, but they got to re-sign Freddie, and they potentially got to re-sign Marcell Ozuna if everybody wants that to happen, which I think most people do. So, yeah, I would be more than happy with Bauer. But you also got to remember we have Soroka coming back at some point next season. You got a lot of pitching coming up too. So I would like to get Bauer. We'll have to see. He signs a new deal every year, so we're going to have to wait and see. Who do you think will win National League MVP? Will it be Freddie? I think so. That West Coast bias can get in the way of that. But, yeah, I think it's going to be Freddie because if it's not, it's a joke. The guy has put up numbers every year for a decade now that he's finally getting recognized for it, and that's great. But the guy's been doing it for over a decade. I think he's going to get MVP. I think that homer last night might help him get MVP. And to be honest with you, I said this last live broadcast I did. I think a lot of the credit belongs to Bryce Harper. I don't know if you guys remember last time the Braves faced the Phillies, Bryce Harper gave a lot of credit to Anthony Rendon and Freddie Freeman and called them the most underrated players in the game. And that's right around the time a lot of this MVP talk started coming up for Freddie. So I think a lot of that conversation belongs to Bryce Harper. And I think we can thank him for that as much as some of you guys don't like him. I think he deserves some credit there. Braves crushed Cole in the Yankees game. Yes, they did. But he's still Garrett Cole. Don't forget that. Congrats on 1.25K. I appreciate it. Working hard. Make sure to tell your friends about this channel. Everything I do here is all independent. So everything I do here, I also do myself. So I do appreciate you guys supporting me. Appreciate the content, bro. No, I appreciate you watching. Peter Bryan, thank you. What about Nick Markakis? He's been struggling a bit at the end of this year. Do you think he'll start to get hot in the playoffs. Nick Markakis isn't one of those guys that is real streaky. A lot of you guys criticize Dansby for being real streaky. I don't view it that way. Nick Markakis is a very consistent player. He has his good days and bad days, but he's a very consistent hitter. He doesn't change his swing a lot. I don't know that he's just going to pop off, but I think he could have some big hits because of the type of hitter he is. And, he's at the bottom of the lineup. He's not number 9, but he's within that 7, 8, 9 spot, is Markakis. And if that's the weakest part in our lineup, then I'm confident in our lineup. I'm not worried about the lineup. Obviously, we all hope Nick Markakis has a great postseason, but if he doesn't, I think there'll be plenty to carry him. I think, as is everybody, I am more worried about the starting rotation as much as anybody. Fulte needs to go to therapy, get the inconsistency bug out of his system like Smoltz did way back when. Maybe. I don't think that's his problem. Everybody calls Mike Foltynewicz a head case. I don't think that is it. I think, he's had some bad luck this season with COVID and everything. Everything's been weird this year. If I'm being honest with you, behind the scenes, I know that he couldn't work out at the beginning of the season. That had something to do with his weight. That's what he said, and I choose to believe him. I don't think it's anything mental. He's worked hard. He's back up to 95. Hopefully, even if it's not with the Braves, he can get right and perform next year. I really hope so. He's a good guy, and these are real people. So don't forget that. I think a lot of people have forgotten that. Super chat alert. Thank you, Jameson Meza. We're going to skip down to you real quick. Sorry to leave you hanging, but hang on. After last night's performance by Freddie Freeman locked up that MVP award this year, right? I think so. I just said that a minute ago. Yeah, I think so. Last night he clinched the number 2 spot in the postseason bracket. If I had to pick an MVP, it's Freddie Freeman. But obviously I'm a little bit biased because of, who I cover. With that said, I think it's Freddie Freeman. You look at all the stats, Mookie Betts and Fernando Tatis Jr., Freddie Freeman's been consistent for 10 years. He doesn't have one MVP award. And to be honest with you, he's beaten them in almost every stat. The only one he's not beaten them in, I think, is homers. And he's still beating them in RBI. So, yeah, I think he's the MVP. If I could choose what team we played, it would be the Cardinals. We need revenge. You say that, but could we take another loss to the Cardinals? In a 3-game series, anything could happen. So just remember that. Do you think the Dodgers are the best team? I was asked that. I did a radio show maybe a month and a half ago. I did a radio show from somewhere in like North Carolina. And they asked me what I thought, who would win the World Series. And at the time, the Braves pitching staff was very weak. And they asked me, just on the spot, who do you think is going to win the World Series? And I think the most well-built team around baseball right now is the Dodgers. I think they've been that for a long time. With what we've heard about the Astros in 2017, who's to say that the Dodgers wouldn't have won that year? I think they're the most all-around best-built team. But anything can happen in the postseason. So, they have to win it. At the end of the day, they have to beat the team in front of them. We'll see if that happens. Is Adini starting over Riley in the postseason? I don't think so. I think Adini is getting – we're at that point in the year where games – not to say games don't matter, but games don't matter. And I think Adini is getting some at-bats to prepare himself for the postseason because Adini is a Charlie Culberson type guy. Adini is a Charlie Culberson type guy in the sense that he can play a lot of different positions. I don't see him starting over Riley though. I think they know Riley's the future, and they know Riley is the is right now too. Is the guy right now. Do you still like Hechavarria after the errors in the field for the past 2 games? We just talked about Adini. Adini for the past 2 games has had a few errors. With that said, I like Adini. I don't dislike him. I mean, the guy's barely played this season. Let's be real. He's going to have some rust. So, I'm not mad about it. at least get it out of his system. If he's going to play in the postseason, then yeah, I don't mind it. Marlins haven't lost a postseason series ever. I think that changes this year. That's a hot take for today, even though it's not a very big one. That is a hot take for today. How about Riley at first base? His glove is underrated. Justin Redmond, I will ask you this. I don't disagree with you. Riley could easily play first base, but where do you put Freddie Freeman? Because to me, I think the best lineup goes Acuna in center, Freddie at first, Marcell Ozuna at DH, and whoever follows. So if Ozuna's at DH, I don't know where you put Freddie, and Freddie's got to stay in the lineup. So that's just kind of how I feel about it. Yeah, we're gonna get rid of this. But all right. Hi, I love your channel. I appreciate it. What is going on in my chat? If you do this, you will get banned. Who else is on the bench besides Ender, Hinch, and Flowers in the postseason? Courtney Conaway, thank you for that. The postseason roster has not been released yet. So with that said, we don't know. The rumor mill, if you really want to know, the rumor mill is that Mike Foltynewicz, Charlie Culberson, and Touki Toussaint were all at the park yesterday, and they've all been told to bubble. And what bubbling is, and I'm sure you can put this together, bubbling is basically quarantining. Stay away from people, don't interact, kind of stay to yourself. So they've been told to do that in preparation for if the Braves are going to need them this postseason. That is the rumor mill. With that said, I take that as the person that I find most likely to see time in the postseason is Charlie Culberson. I would think he's the guy that I'd want off the bench if I had that opinion. Who's winning MVP award? Freddie Freeman. What do you think about Braves' chances to win the World Series? I think once you get to a postseason, the postseason is a completely different environment. The postseason, if I'm being honest with you, the postseason is one of the hardest environments I think you can be in. It's harder than playoffs in any sport because in college football, you have that one team. Your team's got to show up, but it typically goes that way. It goes typically as predicted. Postseason is so unpredictable. One starting pitcher doesn't do good, and everything kind of goes down. I think the Braves have a good chance to win the World Series. I don't see why they wouldn't. They have to beat the Dodgers to do it, and they have to beat their opponent in front of them. At the end of the day, it's one opponent at a time, but it is that for every team. So with the injuries and the amount of pitchers we've had to use Snit for Manager of the Year, why not? Good Lord. Hang on a minute. We're going to deal with this right now. Okay. Sorry, guys. We're having some problems with the chat, apparently. All right, so with the injuries and the amount of pitchers we've had to use Snit for Manager of the Year, Manager of the Year, there's 30 managers, and every manager has had troubles this year, every single one. With COVID and everything else, no manager has had an easy year. But Snit has had to deal with, your rotation at the beginning of the year was solid. Think about it. You had Soroka, you had Fried, potentially you had Sean Newcomb, Mike Foltynewicz, Cole Hamels, Felix Hernandez. You had a lot of guys that could fill that gap. And now it's gone down to the only guy left standing out of that whole entire group is Max Fried. So, yeah, I could see, Snit's had to deal with that. He's had to deal with a lot of criticism for decisions he's made. But, yeah, I could see that. We need to win the first round to end losing streak to get the pressure off. I agree. Obviously, we need to win the first round to move on. But, yeah, I agree. We haven't won a postseason series in 2 decades now. So it'd be nice to win one. No one replaces Freeman for sure. What moves will the Braves make in the offseason? Kevin McAlpin talked about this earlier, and I don't want to ruin his – you guys need to go watch his interview. But he had a really good comment. His picks are, one, re-signing Freddie Freeman and because he has not been re-signed. His deal ends at the end of next year, but I would like to see him go ahead and make that move too. Marcell Ozuna would be a big one. I think any kind of starting pitcher that is not Lance, that is not Tommy Malone or someone similar would be a good pickup. We need somebody that is consistent. But yeah, I don't think. I think any move with starting pitching that is an upgrade is good, and then Freddie, Ozuna, and then re-signing Dansby. Freddie for MVP. I think we all agree that Freddie needs to be MVP. Anyone can win for sure. Bummer about Hamels, absolutely. That was very disappointing. But I think the Braves are going to do fine without. I think the Braves are going to do fine with. Hang on, man. I think the Braves are going to do fine without Hamels. They've gotten this far without Hamels. Obviously, in a condensed postseason, it would have been nice to have him, but I think they're going to be fine. I said this the other day in one of my recaps whenever it was announced that Hamels was not coming back. I said that, with Cole Hamels, I think the Braves will end up wherever they're going to go, whether they win or lose the first series or the second, or they make it to a World Series, wherever they end up going, I think they're going to do it with or without Cole Hamels. And I don't mean that as a knock on Hamels. He's obviously an influential player, but they've gone this far. And think about how much of a revolving door the pitching staff has been. They've had so many different starting pitchers this season. It's almost unbelievable that they're competing, to be honest with you. It's such an atypical year. I think they're going to be fine with or without Hamels, Justin Redmond. Do you think Wilson's last start was a fluke? No, because now look, pitching is the hardest thing. It's just as hard as hitting in baseball. So Bryce Wilson the thing with Bryce Wilson, he's been called up and sent back down so many times, and he's so young. He's always had to make adjustments. He's got a great fastball. He's trying to work on a secondary pitch. I don't think it was a fluke. I don't know that he's going to have the same results every time he goes out there, but I don't think it was a fluke, no. Thanks for keeping an eye out, Jesus. I hope I'm saying your name right. Our pitching has to beat the dumb Dodgers. They are good, though. Yes, they are. The Dodgers are very good. When do you think the Braves will let fans in Truist Park? That's an interesting question, Truist Park, it's more along the lines of when will MLB let them in. It's not going to happen this season. You can forget it. I know I have some friends of mine that are actually going up to the stadium today. They're going to be standing outside. I think that's going to be the case to the end of the year. They may open the doors for the World Series, maybe, but I doubt it. I think there's so much risk involved because think about it. If somehow or another a player picks up COVID and wipes out a team because a fan is fans are in the stands, you're risking a lot there. And they've made it this far. I don't see it happening this season. Next season, it might start off opening day. It might start off in spring training. I'll tell you that my spring training plans got canceled because of COVID. We were actually going to head there the next day, and then it got canceled the day before we left. So I think you can see it in spring training. I think you could see it at some point, maybe a month in next year. I doubt it. I hope it happens before next year. But the world we're living in, who really knows? Do you see Fulte coming back? It's up in the air. I said this a minute ago. It's up in the air. Fulte, in my opinion, if he's made the adjustments, if he's doing better than someone else in the minors, then yeah, he should be called up. He should at least be given the chance. If he's not, and I don't have eyes on this, so I can't tell you. If he's not, then he won't be. He'll be non-tendered next season. But I hope to see, Fulte's a good guy. He's been good to me. And I don't just support him because he's been a good guy. I do believe this. The guy has this stuff. He's got good stuff. The Braves would not have started him in a postseason game last year if he didn't have the stuff. With that said, he's got to make those adjustments and he's got to be more consistent. And I would like to see, personally, either him come back to the Braves and have a great year next year or him come and, pitch for another team. at the end of the day, yeah, it's another team, but he's a former Brave, and I think we can all get on the bandwagon of supporting former Braves. I think Don Mattingly for Manager of the Year probably spelled it wrong. No, you got it right. Yeah, the Marlins came out of nowhere. I would agree with that. That wouldn't surprise me if that happened. Blake already did that, buddy. If we okay, hang on. You guys are commenting so fast, can't keep up. If we re-sign Ozuna, Soroka comes back, Fulte rebounds, and the rest of the team keeps it up, we're winning the World Series. Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great, but we'll see. What's up, Sergeant? Thanks for commenting on like every video I ever post. I appreciate it. Jesus just answered that. Should we be concerned with the performance of Shane Green in his last few appearances on the mound? No. I talked about this the other day. He got ran off the mound the other day, but at the end, the guy's had a great year. He's the guy, to be honest with you. If you had asked me 2 weeks ago, I would say that, Shane Green is my favorite reliever on the Braves. It just feels like when he comes in, everything gets shut down, and I don't feel like there's any worry when Shane Green's on the mound. Lately, things have changed, but I think he's having one of those times where relievers do this. Relievers have this. They have those times where they just can't quite figure it out, and it happened to Will Smith earlier this year. He seems to be, getting back to normal, but I think he'll be all right. The thing that happened with him the other day, I listened to the radio broadcast a good bit. Joe Simpson and 680 The Fan. I listen to those a good bit because I'm usually on the road during a lot of the games. I'm covering high school football here at the news station I work at. So I'm on the road a lot, especially on Friday nights. And I listen to them. And the way they explained it the other day, he had 3 days off instead of 2. He got out of routine. I think that is probably a very big part of it. Justin Rettman, big props to the Braves pitching staff, getting guys ready and polished in a hurry too. Yeah, I agree. I think the entire Braves organization deserves some credit just for everything that they've had to do this year. I can't believe Braves walk off when I was sleeping. Yeah, you got to stay up. You know better than that. The Braves score in the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th innings. You know better than that. We need Fulte and Sean to come back. Yes, and Soroka. That is Sergeant AR-10, and I don't know how to say your name. I don't know if it's Jesus or Jesus, but I would say that, if Fulte and Sean came back to, being Fulte and Sean, I would agree. Soroka, yeah, that's going to be a little while, but yeah. Hamels is a bust. We don't need him. I think Hamels is at a very pivotal part in his career. I think Hamels is at the point where he's questioning on whether or not he's got anything left. And I think that's, a fair question after this year. He came back, he pitched for 3 or 4 innings, and then he was done for the rest of the year. I don't think the Braves make that move again. Inoue just got sent to the minors, by the way. Yeah, I saw that. We didn't talk about it today. They called up Tucker for Inoue. Jesus, my dad says that when Anderson, Soroka, Fried comes, we will have pitching powerhouse. Yeah, I would agree. Ian Anderson has proven himself. Kyle Wright has proven himself as of late to be a guy. I don't know if that's going to continue, but we're going to have to wait and see. Bryce has improved so much. He's only 22. Yeah, the guy's young. He's been out of high school for 4 or 5 years. He's not an old guy. He's been called up and called back down over and over and over again. I think we're gonna have to wait and see how he does. It's too early to make a decision on how a guy's going to be for years to come at that age. Our rotation is going to be great next year with Soroka, Fried, and Anderson. If we could sign Bauer for 3 years, it would be great. Bauer does not sign multi-year deals. That's why he's a free agent next year. He only signs 1-year deals. The story behind that is he made a bet with a buddy of his when he was younger that he wouldn't do that. So he will not sign anything but a 1-year deal. I highly doubt he will anyway. So we're going to have to wait and see. But it would be nice for the Braves to get him. That I would not mind. Postseason watch parties in the Battery. I plan to take a trip up there. I don't know when, depending on how long the postseason goes for the Braves, I do plan to make a trip up to the Battery at some point, either looking in the field or watching it on the screen out there. Being around you guys to some degree. But I plan to take a trip up there. That they could do that. I would imagine if it's going on in the stadium, they could do it. I don't know if it's going to be bubbled off or not, but I think that is certainly a possibility. Folty is a strange case. He can look so good one day and then fall apart the next. Yeah, that has been his battle throughout his career. Hopefully that will change. Brilliant one inning and totally shelled the next. Yeah. Robbie B, MV free. Yep. Ryan Butts, you're my favorite YouTuber. I appreciate that a lot. I hear that from some of you guys, and it's a lot of work to make all these videos and do this. I'm actually in school too, so to do it, it's actually it takes a lot of my time. But I like doing it. I wouldn't do it if I didn't like it, and I appreciate all the support you guys give me. So I appreciate that comment. Excited for Davidson tonight, as you should be. Look for him to throw strikes. That is his biggest tool, is that he throws strikes. He's got more than a strikeout per inning in the minors as a stat. So that is what I would look for in Davidson tonight. Believe that both Kyle Wright and Bryce Wilson improvement has come from the Braves have called them up and finally let them hear finally. Well, they haven't had much of a choice, to be fair with you, Jameson. By the way, I appreciate that super chat again. Super chats get priority in here, just for the record. But yeah, I think Bryce Wilson, his improvement has been pitching. Snicker said at the beginning of the year in relation to Kyle Wright that he's got the stuff in the minors. We've seen him in the minors. We got to let him pitch through it in the majors, and that's been the case for a lot of these guys. So I completely agree with you. Kyle Wright finally seems to have figured it out. His past two starts have been great. Bryce Wilson had a great last start. Ian Anderson, he had a little – Ian Anderson's been great all year, don't get me wrong. But he had a little time, 2 to 3 weeks where he just wasn't looking like himself. He's getting up 4 or 5 runs a game, which isn't bad for a rookie at all. But he's back to doing what he was doing now, and I think that's pitching through it, getting through it, and even on the days where you don't have your stuff, pitching through it. Tucker Davidson is great, and I think he will go on our playoff roster. I don't know. I think it's going to depend on what he does today. I think, if he's lights out, that'll be awesome. But I think that's a lot to put on him. Right now he's going into a very low-pressure situation. I think that would be almost unfair to him to put him into a postseason roster, but I wouldn't fight it if he does great today. Lots of sports. What happened to Matt Adams? He got DFA'd a while back. Matt Adams has been battling. The teams find it hard to play him anywhere. He's either first base or DH, and on the Braves, first base is taken. And right now, DH is pretty much taken. You got guys hitting like Darno when he's not catching. You got him at DH, and then you got Ozuna and others. There's so much offense on the Braves. I think Matt Adams just sort of ran out of time and ran out of space in the lineup. Wish they would have let Hetch stay in to redeem himself. It looked like that error really rattled him, and I think that's why they took him out, because it looked like it really rattled him. Same reason they take pitchers out. They read body language. He didn't look too thrilled after that. Hopefully that won't be the last time we see him in the regular season. Justin Rettman, we should have traded for Marco Gonzalez. Our outfield is going to be crowded. Our outfield's been crowded for 2 years now. The pinned video on my channel, if you go look at it, I think it is still crowded outfield. That video was like one of the first I ever did. But yeah, our outfield's been crowded for a long time. That's why I think Ender Inciarte is trade bait. What about Sandoval? Was AA on a bender? I don't know what was going on with that, to tell you the truth. I don't know what that was. I think he might be there to to give some young guys some advice, and I think we're paying him to be a coach, kind of. If I'm being honest with you, I don't think he's going to see anything on the. I don't think he's going to see the postseason roster, if that's what you're asking me. But yeah, I don't think that's the case. But at any means, who is your least favorite team in the MLB? I don't have a least favorite team. I have teams I prefer. I have players I don't like. Carlos Gomez being number one, but he's no longer around. Yeah, I don't have any least favorite team. I do have teams I prefer. I actually like to watch the Reds this year. I hope they don't eliminate the Braves, but I actually do like to watch the Reds. I think they're a good team. I guess the Astros, if you're asking me that right now, with everything that came out, probably the Astros this year. But I grew up watching the Braves. That's my team, and that will probably continue to be my team, for a very long time. The Red Sox, for a few years, not this year, but for a few years, they were good. When I was a kid, I really liked watching them. The Cubs were, in 2016, I really enjoyed watching the Cubs. The Padres have been fun to watch this year. I enjoy tuning into their highlights. The Dodgers are a good team. They're not my favorite, though. I feel like the Dodgers are almost the Yankees of the National League. They just can't win a World Series for some reason. But, the Yankees – the Yankees aren't my least favorite team, but they're not. They're not one I root for by any means. All right, let me see. Well, mine is the Trastros. The Trastros, I like that. Oh, my bad. I thought you said worse. With the rumors that you have heard about the guys to bubble, could the Braves possibly use Fulte from the bullpen this postseason? Just a thought. I thought that he might start tomorrow, to tell you the truth. After I heard that rumor, I was like, are they trying to, sneak one by us here? I don't think that's the case. They might surprise me, but I'm kind of moving past the idea of Fulte returning this season. I hope I'm wrong. I do, because I really like Fulte, but it's not looking that way from all of what I've heard from the people I've talked to. It's just not looking that way. Do you think Inoue is going to be on the postseason roster? He very well could be. He very well could be. I think he might have been sent down just to experiment. We talked about that the other day. That would not surprise me at all. Just sending them down, letting some other guys come up and get that experience. That wouldn't surprise me at all. It also wouldn't surprise me if he came in to be a part of the bullpen. I don't see him as a starter. But I could see him as a long relief in the bullpen. Where do you see the Nats next year coming off terrible year? The Nats stole a World Series, in my opinion. I really believe that because the Braves killed the Nationals in head-to-head. And, they got hot at the right time. I think they know they weren't, booked to win a World Series last year, and they got one, and now they're sort of in that phase of, okay, we got it, and let's rebuild. With that said, I don't know what they're going to be next year. They have all these guys that come up and turn out to be, great players like Bryce Harper and Anthony Rendon, and they don't re-sign them. Is that going to happen to Juan Soto in a few years? The question has to be asked. I don't know. Better crowded than lacking. I assume you're talking about the outfield. I would agree, but, could that be, could that be fixed? Could they reallocate players somewhere else? Fulte for middle innings, I wouldn't be mad at that. Let me see. So if Tucker is lights out tonight, does he earn a spot in the postseason roster? I don't know. I think the Braves are going to have to play that one by ear because you're taking a guy who is in the alternative training site and has never seen, a major league field, been on a major league mound rather, and you're putting him directly into a postseason. I don't know if that's fair to him. I mean, I'm not going to tell him that he can't go. I mean, if the Braves feel like he's the guy, then they'll put him in. But I would be surprised if that happened. Who are a couple of dark horse teams? White Sox or the Padres, maybe. I'm going to throw you another one out there. I think the Marlins are a dark horse team. A team that, nobody really thinks about. The Marlins are a dangerous team. I'm glad, right now it doesn't look like the Braves are going to face the Marlins. I'm glad. I do not want the Marlins in the postseason. We've seen some of their pitching this year. I don't have any interest in going to play the Marlins because they're just dangerous. They play small ball. They're good at it. I have no interest in playing the Marlins. Yeah, what's this talk I'm hearing about Fulte going to the bubble with the Braves? I heard his wife said that on Twitter. Yeah, I knew that a few days ago. I didn't want to say it, to tell you the truth, because I didn't know how much truth was behind it. It was kind of all rumor mill. I saw all that. If he's being told to bubble, obviously there's potential of him coming back to the Braves this season. So, yeah, it could happen. I don't want to tell y'all. I'm not going to tell you guys potentially what's going to happen. I'm going to, I can tell you what I think could happen, but I'm not going to tell you that I'm for sure, yeah, that's going to happen. I'm not entirely sure there. But, yeah, it certainly could. Pulte could be a long reliever in 2021. For someone, yes, Robbie B. Yes, for someone. I hope it's the Braves if that's the case. But they don't need any help in their bullpen right now. I started watching the Braves at the beginning of the 1982 season. Been a fan ever since. So that was a good season to watch back then. That was, correct me if I'm wrong, that's like the Joe Torre days, Dale Murphy, Bob Horner, back in those days. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Joe Torre was managing. That was the year that they won the West, I want to say. Braves run the East. Acuna's homer was the MLB The Show type dong. Yeah, it was. Unfortunately, like I said a minute ago, I was not at home watching the game last night. I was actually covering high school football, and I was on a football field, and I got a notification saying Acuna has hit the furthest homer in MLB this year. I was like, are you kidding me? That one night I'm not home, and I went and watched it on Twitter, and it was a shot, man. When you go to Truist Park and you walk around and you get an idea where everything's at, right? And then you're at home and you're watching highlights, and you know when something is a shot, right? Like if someone was to hit it over that wall in left field, like beyond that concourse, it's over 500 feet, right? Like when I walk around, I've been up to the Hank Aaron Terrace. I've looked around. I know that distance, right? Same last night. I'm watching a highlight of Acuna, and that I see that ball where it landed, and I knew where it was, and I was very impressed by it, to say the least. Yeah, you're not gonna. Nope. By the way, if you see a spammer in the chat, let me know. We will get rid of them because I am not going to listen to that. All right, so COVID is way overblown. Name one player that has passed away due to COVID. Even testing sucks. Just ask Trevor Bauer. I'm not going to disagree with you there. It's not my place to say. We're talking about, fans coming in, I assume is what you're getting at. I get that. But, yeah, you got to take everyone into consideration. As much as I would like to go to games, I understand exactly where you're coming from. But yeah, I do think to some degree it is. Obviously, the NFL is taking a lighter stance on it than MLB is, and hopefully things will change. But I don't see it happening this year. Just from a public relations standpoint, I don't see MLB allowing fans this year because obviously the backlash from certain people would be strong, and I don't think they're going to want to deal with that. What are your thoughts on Pache and Waters in the future? I think we see at least Pache start on the opening day roster next year. I do. With that said, I don't know about Waters. I was surprised that Pache did not stay on the 26 man this year. I was very surprised by that. I think he'll start next year. I do. I was asked about that in the live broadcast, and I couldn't make up my mind, but I do. I think he'll be around. I think he'll probably, move either Markakis to the bench or keep Ozuna at DH. I think that'll be the case, or it could be a shifting lineup, one or the other. When is the second Chief Nakahoma interview going to drop? It is going to drop at some point in the off season. That is I got to be honest with you. That interview is going to be hard to edit. It's going to be very I'm trying to make sure it's done right, if that makes sense. I don't want to rush it to you and get it to you, and I want some off-season content. So that will happen in the off-season. Chief is excited to see it too. He asked me a couple times already when it's going to drop, and I told him. But, yeah, that will happen in the off-season. It's going to turn out great. I hope you guys are ready for it. So just keep an idea. And if you don't know who Chief Nakahoma is, you need to do your research on the Braves because Chief Nakahoma is a fundamental part of Braves history, and unfortunately he's been forgotten about over the years. Acuna's homer last night was an absolute bomb. Yes, it was. I'll play anyone because we hit everyone like it's pee-wee. The Fish could do what the Nats did last year, maybe steal one. Yeah, they could. They easily could. Anybody this year can quote-unquote steal one. Thank you for all your work on the stream. I enjoy your thoughtful insight. No, Justin, thank you for watching. Anytime you guys tell me thank you, that's what I'm going to say. No, thank you for watching. Spammers. Oh, Lord. Oh, yeah. The nachos. Benjamin is gone, I believe. If he's not, then I'll get rid of him in a minute. But Matthew Brittingham, any idea of who will start tomorrow? Fulte or Nuka maybe, or Bryce again? I think it could go either way. I don't know. The Braves have been very quiet for the past, month or so about who's pitching the next day, and finding probable pitchers online is difficult these days with the Braves because it is so questionable. I think they go day to day almost. All right, we're going to go with him, and I think that's been the case. They've been keeping things quiet. Fulte or Newcomb, possibly. I would lean more on the Fulte side if we're picking one of those. Bryce would be who I lean towards out of those three, though. That raises the question of what to do with Adam Duvall. Should we keep him or trade him for more assets? Adam Duvall, like Marcelo Zuna, is going to get paid next year. No mistake about it. He does have a year arbitration, but he is going to get paid next year. And rightfully so. He's had a great year this season. I would like to keep Adam Duvall, but I don't know. I don't know right now. What do you see as Pache's ceiling as far as hitting? A guy that he's compared to the most would probably be Andrew Jones, for his fielding and his ability on the field. I don't like to give ceilings, if that makes sense, just because no, Darno's on a 2 years, Tyler. I don't like to give ceilings because I don't like to put limits on a player. When you put limits on a player and then they prove you wrong, it's never a good look. I think Pache is a good hitter. We don't need him to be Acuna necessarily. I would be just fine if he's more of a, Ozzie Albies or even a Freddie Freeman type hitter, just a base hit. Get me a base hit and, get 30 homers, 20 homers a year. I'm good with that. With our offense right now, I'm okay with that. But he's gaining power, if that makes you feel better. He is gaining power. Love Chief. Everyone look him up. Tyler has got videos on him. He's cool. Yeah, I got former interviews with Chief too. Make sure to go check them out. They've done very well on here, actually. A lot of people haven't seen Chief in years, and when they see him, I'll tell you, Chief is a friend of mine. Chief, we go to dinner maybe twice a year together, and I see him probably, a few times a year. And when we go out to dinner, it's hilarious how many people will come up and talk to him. And, they think he is, because they went and talked to him back in the day. They went and saw him at the field in the teepee. And, it's amazing how many people just love and adore him. And, it makes him light up every time. Did you know that Chris Martin is the tallest player on the Braves? Yeah, I've seen him in person. When he first came to the Braves, I was actually at the game. I was in the Battery. I ran into Luke Jackson, actually, of all people. I ran into Luke Jackson, who lives, from what I can gather, lives in the apartments in the Battery. And, again, from what I can gather, a lot of the players that, come to the Braves live in those apartments. Like if they get traded middle of the season, they live in those apartments because they're right there next to the stadium. Josh Tomlin came walking up, and so did Chris Martin. And I thought it was Chris Martin, but he was new to the Braves. This dude was just freakishly tall. And, I'm a shorter guy. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a shorter guy. And I just noticed this dude, and I was like, that's who I think it is. And then I saw Josh Tomlin, and it was kind of confirmed. But, yeah, I knew he was the tallest guy. He's a tall guy. I'm not trading Duvall for anything less than a king's ransom. Yeah? Look, Duvall's one of my favorite players on the Braves. He's had a great story. He's had a great comeback story. And, that's the kind of thing you like to see. But, yeah, I completely agree. Is Darno on a 1 year? No. 2 year. What team in history would you say to win it all would be the closest comparison to this Braves team? As far as really poor starters, very good bullpen, and awesome offense. Trevor, Hang on a second, Trevor. I did some research the other day, and I was watching. If you didn't see it, go look up Mark DeRosa breaking down the Braves lineup the other day on MLB Network. Completely worth your time, trust me. And he compared them just kind of offhandedly to the 2002 Angels. Okay, so I want you to look at this. I got stats up and down this notepad on like 3 pages. Okay, I went and compared their stats. All right. And the Braves line up to the 2002 World Series lineup. The Braves outdo the 2002 Angels prorated. They outdo them in OPS. They don't outdo them in average, but they're right there with them. They outdo them in homers, and they outdo them in RBIs by over 200. Okay? That was the 2002 Angels. So if I had to pick a comparison, it would probably be the 2002 Angels. They had very weak starters, and they had a very good offense. They bashed their way to a World Series is the best way I could describe it. So obviously it's hard to compare with the 60-game season, but it is interesting. That's who I would compare them to. I was actually planning on doing a video on this probably next Monday, but we'll see if that ends up happening. This is just sort of my offhand notes of what I got going. But yeah, that's the best answer I can give you, Trevor. I hope that's good. Keep Duvall, I love him. Yeah, for sure. If freed, 100% ankle injury can greatly affect the pitcher. I hope it's just a strain. He was almost on the brink of Cy Young territory. Now it's yeah. Freed's fine. He's pitching. He's doing bullpens. He's fine. I've contacted a few guys to sort of make sure, but I knew he'd be okay. He was in the dugout pleading his case to stay in. So yeah, I think he's going to be fine. It's probably going. I lean Trevor Bauer for the Cy Young right now. As much as I'd love for Freed to win it, it's Trevor Bauer. Duvall has been a stud, absolutely. Did you know that Chris Martin? Yeah, I knew. Yeah, it's okay. I know it's a couple years away, but do we resign Darno or wait for Shea Langoliers? Darno's been very good, but Shea Langoliers has a lot of upside. I think we're going to have to make that decision after next season. Next season we'll have a better idea of what we have. This season with 60 games, it's kind of hard to pick apart what we want to carry over next year. I think we're going to have to wait till next year. I like Shea Langoliers. I really do. If you go watch, if you can find it, the Braves back in spring training were releasing videos of like the cages, and that dude's bat speed is right there. He's good. Who is the nicest Brave you've met and the rudest? I'm not going to tell you the rudest. I'm not going to talk bad on anybody. But, I've met a lot of nice Braves. Dansby has been very friendly to me. Bolte's been good to me. Freddie, I'll tell you this. Freddie, I was at spring training this, last year, not this past year, but the one before it. And I was near the, if you go to a game, you always see the guys getting autographs on the side, like by the Braves dugout. And it was no different at spring training. They were all doing that. And I was sort of near it. And everybody was quiet. Nobody said anything. They didn't want to run Freddie off. They didn't want him to tell him no or anything. And this about 5-year-old little boy, Mr. Freddie, will you sign my baseball? He turned around and he said, absolutely. And he signed for every single person right there. And that's just one instance. I'm sure, somebody's probably had a bad day with Freddie. I hope not. But, that one little instance, that sort of makes me think highly of players when they take the time like that to do it. But, you can catch anybody on a bad day. So I'm not going to tell you who's the rudest. Dale Murphy's been super friendly. Phil Necro was super nice to me. Daryl Cheney, that's probably a name you don't know. Daryl Cheney has been very, very nice to me. He's a former Brave. But, there's a lot of Braves that have been just very nice to me. Tom Glavin was very good to me. Leo Mazzoni, very nice to me. Bobby Cox, very nice to me. I can't speak bad of really any of them. Who do you think we will pick up after the season ends pitching-wise? I hope Trevor Bauer. Outside of that, I hope just a decent starting pitcher. But we also have Soroka coming back next year. We have Ian Anderson, who's had a great season so far. Kyle Wright, who's looking, with some upside. If these young pitchers start, performing well, we might not need to go get somebody. I know that's kind of the mindset, but we might not need to. My favorite all-time Brave, The one I grew up with, I told y'all this last week. The one I grew up with was Chipper Jones. By far, my favorite growing up. Right now, it's Ronald Acuna or Freddie Freeman. It's one of those two. I'm more of a hitting guy. Pitcher to me is separate. My favorite all-time Brave. I mean, it's hard not to say Hank Aaron too. He's well before my time, but it's kind of hard not to throw him in there. Dale Murphy was the nicest I've met. Dale Murphy's been nice to me every time I've met him. If you go to Murph's, if you've never eaten at Murph's, you're missing out. Who is better, Tom Glavin, Greg Maddox, or John Smoltz? Greg Maddox. I don't think we need to go into any detail there. Greg Maddox. Does Pache replace Ender in center field position, and does that mean the Braves move on from Ender? Yes. Yes. What are the best two stadium snacks if visiting Atlanta? I got to tell you, there's two places I go to. And I usually don't eat a snack. I eat a meal. There's the barbecue joint in left center that I really like. I eat there pretty much every time I go to the Braves game. And then Wahlburgers in the Battery. Those are my two places. You will if I'm eating, you will most likely see me there. I think Pache needs to replace Ender in center field. Yes. Why did we keep Adini up over Johan? I'm not impressed. At least Johan has power and can field. Go look at Johan's average. That's what I would tell you. And Adini can play as many positions as Johan. Johan had the advantage of he was playing every day almost. He had reps in. Adini doesn't have reps, and I'm not just going to defend somebody. Adini has not had reps this season. He's barely played. So I don't think it's fair, to throw that at him when he's only played a few games. But I understand where you're coming from. Austin Riley signed my baseball last year. He was cool. Camargo was rude. All right. I don't want to talk bad about anybody. Riley's been nice to me too. I've actually spoke with his dad during his debut. I was there for Riley's debut. The footage I show every time I talk about Austin Riley's from his debut. It's his first homer. He was very nice to me. I'm going to respond to this. Camargo was very nice to me. Camargo does not speak very good English. He's not going to talk to you very long. We had to use a translator. If you go check out my interview, we had to use a translator. It was actually his agent. Camargo was very nice to me. He thanked me for interviewing him. So I just want to say that, Camargo has always been he's very nice to me. Anytime I go to the game and I go down by the dugout and he sees me, he comes and speaks. Johan has been very, very kind to me. Cole Hamels' career might be done. I'd like to see Folty get a shot this year, but it might not happen. You hit it nail right on the head. All right. All right, bye, Benjamin. All right. All right, Benjamin is gone, guys, in case you're wondering. Dale Murphy should have been in the Hall of Fame decades ago. What's up with that? Yeah, I've talked about that a good bit. Dale Murphy should be in the Hall of Fame. I think but he runs into the same problem a lot of other people do. Dale, he's right on that. He's right on the line of who should be in the Hall of Fame. Dale, unfortunately, Fred McGriff, same thing. Fred McGriff had the steroid users come right behind him, and Dale did kind of too. And if he had just, I don't even know. Dale had a really good 10 years, and it's a shame that he hasn't been enshrined in Cooperstown for that. I worry, he put up numbers similar to Freddie Freeman. I worry that that's going to happen to Freddie sometimes. But I hope the Veterans Committee, I hope eventually picks him in. But there's a lot of guys like that are just barely on that line. Joey Wentz and Travis Demeritte are who the Braves traded for Shane Green. I noticed that you're trying to remember that last chat. Yeah. That I couldn't remember that trade. You're right. But I still thought that was going to be Ender Inciarte back then, just because of, the time Ender was struggling, but he was a good outfielder. I thought that could easily happen, but it ended up being those two guys. Thank you. I couldn't remember that. I knew it was Joey Wentz, just couldn't remember the other one. Who will we play first? Right now, it's looking like the Reds. It could be the Cardinals, but it's looking like the Reds. It also could be the Giants or the Marlins. I hope it would be the Giants. That would be the best of luck. But I don't like to pick a team. I don't like to pick a team that is quote unquote the weakest team because you're playing with luck there. Braves in the playoffs, good or not? I think they could be, but the playoffs are hard. A lot of people forget that. The playoffs, it is not an easy thing to accomplish. Just getting to the playoffs is not an easy thing to accomplish, especially this year. I think they have the potential to do very well in the playoffs, but they have to beat the teams in front of them. Marlins are beating the Yankees 3-0. You really think so? I'm not opposed to it. But they're on opposite sides of the postseason bracket. Is that who you think is going to be in the World Series? Oh, that's their next series. I got you. Yeah, that would be interesting. That would definitely make things interesting. Do you think Dansby – my bad on that, Chad. Do you think Dansby is re-signing? Yeah, I do. I do. I mean, he's a hometown kid. He's had a great year. I don't see him asking for an amount that would be out of this world because he's only had, the 1 year like he's had. I could see that happening. Dale's years after 30 were not great, but he should still be in the Hall of Fame. Agreed. Yankees are kind of going through it as well as us right now. I don't think we're going through it, or at least on the offensive side of things, and the pitching's kind of coming together. The offense struggles with runners on scoring position, but they can produce. We're going through it, but we've gone through it all year. I think the Yankees are finally hitting that point. The Reds know, Giants. Yep. Do you know what all needs to happen for us to end up playing the Giants? I do not. I know that I believe they need to win, and the Reds need to lose, I believe, as well as the Cardinals, I believe. Don't quote me on that. But I think we're getting to wrapping up. We've gone for about an hour now. If you have any last-minute questions, go ahead and put them in, but I am about to get out of here. I want to thank you all for coming in and joining. I appreciate it. Hopefully you guys will check out some of the other stuff going on. Obviously, 6 p.m. tonight, Kevin McAlpin. We interviewed him at 12 today at noon, and he had a lot to say. He talked about the Braves' postseason chances, his pick for who the Braves need to face. You can guess who that is. He talks about Tucker Davidson, and he talks about whether or not Marcell Ozuna will be re-signed. So that is a lot of good content there. And make sure you check it out. There, you should be notified. If you're not subscribed, go subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so you know when I do stuff like this. First of all, you need to do that. But again, check out that interview with Kevin. Make sure you go do it. Do you think Ozuna is going to re-sign? I think there's a chance. Thank you for answering our questions. You got it. If we play in a 7-game series or even game 5, do we throw a bullpen game or let Tomlin start? We'll get there when we get there. We got to win the first one. Bye. Keep up the outstanding work. Thank you, Robbie B. Do you think the Braves can win the World Series? Yeah, I do. Really enjoyed watching. Good stuff, man. Thank you, Trevor. Appreciate it, bud. You should keep doing these. I plan to at least once a week. Have a good day. Look me up when you're off the West Coast. I am also a Mariner fan. Oh, you're having a good year this year. Excited for Tucker. Hope he is close and ready and doesn't get blown up. I think we all hope that. What's up, Javaris? The Braves need to win their early games in series with Fried and Anderson. I agree, but don't underestimate Kyle Wright. He has good stuff. He really does. But I think that's going to wrap it up here if there is no last-minute questions. I think we've answered everything for the past hour or so. I think we got around to everything. But there will be a replay of this on the channel if you missed anything. The bullpen last night. I'll tell you this, Bash Brothers. The bullpen last night struggled, but I think any bullpen is going to have nights where they struggle. I don't think that's fair to pick one night. But, I think they'll be fine. They need to gear up for the postseason. They need to kind of get it together. But, no, I'm not worried about it. This dude here. But, yeah, I'm not worried about it. The thing that I'm worried about most of all is what will happen when the Braves enter the postseason. What I mean by that is, does this offensive charge slow down? Does the pitching magically somehow or another just, for what we've seen the past few weeks, just go away? I'm worried that, the nerves of the postseason gets to the Braves. I shouldn't be, but I am. So next year it's going to be Darino and then a bunch of guys behind him Darno and then a bunch of guys behind him in the catching position. Should that be a slight concern with those young catchers? No. Flowers is gone. I don't think Alex Jackson is the guy, to tell you the truth. I think you're going to have William Contreras and you're going to have Shea Langoliers. Outside of that, don't even worry about the young catchers. I think, the Braves aren't dumb. They know what they got in the minors. So I think what you're going to see more than likely is William Contreras first and then Shea Langoliers, just because Williams has been, I believe he's been in the minors longer. I might be wrong on that, but I believe that's the case. Whoever's, more ready is going to be the guy. Contreras should be the backup catcher on opening day in 2021. That's what I think too, Robbie B. But that's going to do it, guys. I really do need to get out of here. Stay tuned tonight, 6 p.m. I will be dropping something new. It will be the Kevin McAlpin interview. Now, Kevin McAlpin, if you don't know already, is a Braves insider. He's in the press box for everything that the Braves do at home, at least this season, usually on the road too. But he will be doing an interview with me 6 p.m. tonight. We'll drop. It was very good. He talks about a lot of the hottest topics right now. Stay tuned for that. I will be doing recaps again for every game that we have. Obviously, they're finishing up the series with the Red Sox tomorrow. I'll have a recap of that on Monday. And then, of course, we'll gear up for the postseason. Hopefully by Monday, we know who the Braves are going to face in the postseason. So we'll do a matchup and show you kind of how the Braves stack up against them on Monday as well. But that's all I got for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. You guys always do very well on these lives. I promise I'm going to do more of these, probably around once a week. Try to do them consistently on Saturday, but we'll see. But that's all I got for today. I'm going to wrap it up. Appreciate it, guys. Y'all have a good one, okay?